Yeah, boy, it's July 7th, and it's episode, I think it's actually 113. I see 115 in here because I had 114 last week. I was scrambling not being here, guys. And this is the Fantasy Football Auctioneer. I'm your host, Uncle Buckets. The Fantasy Football Auctioneer is the official podcast of the fantasyfootballauction.com, the internet's only website dedicated to fantasy football auctions. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fantasyfootballauctioneer or follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Fantasy Auction. You can also see us at another Twitter handle. We are at FF Auction Advice. The mock draft season's starting to heat up, so follow us at FF Auction Advice to follow the network of other auction aficionados. Is that how you put it last week, Slim?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, big fancy words while I was gone. And so he just puts buffs on for me. Other auction buffs and talk strategy or set up mock drafts with real people, not just robots, so you can see what they're actually doing. Slim's real proud. He's got 50 followers of the FF Auction Advice. 54 now, so it's good stuff. It's guys who are just following auctions. So actually, great place. You say, hey, I'm going to go on and do a mock and drop the link to it. It probably can find some guys. Blister, have you been using it for that?
No, I can't even get on.
No, I can't even get on that. You can't get on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter, but I only look at my own page. What am I don't even have to log into that one.
No, you don't have to log into it. Just tweet at it, and then you'll retweet it, and then all the guys who follow it will see it.
Oh, well, I don't have any questions. They're supposed to ask me the question.
No, you're supposed to say, hey, I'm doing a mock draft at 8:30. Who wants in? So that you actually have
that's what you're talking
about. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
You need to have some kind of buzzer, so pay attention. I wasn't thinking you're going to ask me anything for a while. So
well, I wasn't supposed to. So I figured that's why I was going on the script here. Sorry. Anyways.
I was checking baseball scores on my phone. Jesus.
My intro will fit in nicely. So.
Buffy's getting smashed.
So anyways, we got a great show for you tonight. Today we're going to take a look at a few news items, most notably Antonio Gates, and then we're really going to break down the Scott Fish Bowl. It started yesterday at noon, so the three of us are in it, and our fan at Derek Myers, or D. Myers I think is on there, but Derek's on there and he's in our pool, or in my pool. So we'll talk about that today too. But of course, our experts, they're always here. Slim, I did really appreciate the super terrific happy hour, by the way. I really enjoyed that. It was good. I dropped the soundbite in case you didn't listen back. Anyways, you did? Good.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. He's going to have a hard time paying attention tonight, as we just noticed, because of his ADHD and him looking at 25 different sites for his next fishbowl pick. Ruzzer! Just kidding. He's also, like he said, talking about his daily baseball. He's got golf. He's probably worried about Rory and the ankle. I like how some of them are saying football injury, but it's really a soccer injury. Blister, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, very busy. You're right. Rory, actually, I was thinking about that. I was in that one big golf pool where you had to submit all your 4 people for each of the majors, and Rory I held off from the Masters and obviously the US Open. He was my man for the British Open. So thanks, Rory, for nothing. He just ruined my hopes and dreams of winning that pool. I was doing so well in it too. I had Spieth. I didn't have. You can only pick a guy once, so I couldn't have him again for the U.S. Open. But I had Dustin Johnson, who should have won that.
Yeah.
So and then Rory was supposed to win the next one for me, and I can't believe that he went and did that. What a tool. So yeah, busy though, man. Yeah, very busy.
And you know what? I didn't read the end of the intro that you added on to, and I just now I'm reading it finally. Staining your big deck. I wasn't sure what you were referring to there at first, so then I saw it was deck. So.
No, it's a big deck. Yeah, I work around the big deck.
Oh, big deck. Okay,
yeah. Somebody, one of our co-workers sent me the clip. Jeff Foxworthy and Drew Carey and the boys talking about their big deck, and I figured that I was doing that. So,
oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, and he's a way better podcast host than I am. Slim, great job last week. It was awesome listening to the show as a fan last week. Like I didn't know what it was going to say. I added a couple of sound bites, and then driving to the Dells last week, I got to listen to it, and I thought to myself, holy crap, why doesn't everybody who does auctions listen to this podcast? It's unbelievable. Then I realized it's because I wasn't on there probably. So great job last week.
Oh, thanks. You're too modest. You do a hell of a job. Come on now.
Well, you know what? It was really good. Like listening to it as a fan. Like you guys had, like obviously, great content, but the fact that like I was listening to about 4 or 5 pods during that road trip, and it was just all auction, and it just was really good because you listen to all the other podcasts and you go, oh, I hope I get a little something out of that, you know. And this one was like, well, no, I got a lot out of it because it's auction. So I thought you guys did a great job last night. Or last week. Sorry for being away, but good job, boys. You too, Lister.
Thanks.
Slim did well. He's got a good radio voice, much more so. I was listening to it today while I was big deck, actually. So
easy.
Wow, he does. He must have a really good voice then, doesn't he?
Just working that.
I never really thought about that.
He's got a really good voice. I was stinging my deck. That's pretty good. All right. Sorry, I wish I had sound bites to do it. As you can see, well, actually, as all 6 of you who actually watch the YouTube video can see, I'm off at school this week. I'm recording out of a dorm room. My roommates are across the hall, probably wondering what's going on, and if you hear any banging and thumping, it's probably our Vikings fan, Minnow over there, cursing about something. So no comment from him. Okay, well, let's keep rolling. He did grunt, though, I think. I heard him grunt. Anyways, guys, let's get this thing going. If you guys are... What's that?
You guys are sharing a room? You're sharing a room?
Townhouse. He's across the hall in a different room. It's I'm not staying in my deck or anything.
That's good. Yeah.
Sorry. Listening to Slim's voice. It's good. I might call this episode "Staying in My Deck." This might be good. Anyways, if you guys are ready, then I'm ready. Let's cock the hammer. It's time for action. All right, so like I said, we're going to talk a little bit of news, guys, and then we're going to get into the Scott Fish Bowl. So the first bit of news, and probably, I guess, one of the more important ones for fantasy is the Antonio Gates suspension for performance-enhancing drugs. So this is probably the biggest story since we saw it, since we potted last week. So it's been a few days, but Gates will miss games against the Lions, the Bengals, the Vikings, and the Browns. He'll be eligible to return to the active roster on October 5th, and that's for the Week 5 matchup against the Steelers. So performance-enhancing drugs, Gates blamed his positive test on supplements and holistic medicine, bulletproof coffee. I'm not sure what he was doing over there. But, Buster, we're going to go to you first. Buy or sell that Ladarius Green is in the discussion as a sleeper tight end 1 this year.
Well, I'm going to sell that for the time being. I think a lot is to be determined yet. Who's going to make up for Gates' absence? And I think that has to be determined through training camp and maybe some preseason games, because Ladarius Green hasn't had the big role that everyone's hoped for him to have yet in that offense. Last year he caught 19 of 25 targets for just over 225 yards, 226 yards I think it was. And I think, like right now off the top of my head, guys that might have a bit more of an uptick in their value. Danny Woodhead might be a good guy to look at for some of these third down targets. Stevie Johnson. So again, like I think out of the whole group there, I really think Woodhead's a nice sleeper out of that pack. I think he's got a guy you should target later in your draft or in your auction for cheap money. I mean, he's a hell of a PPR back, so he's going to have value right there. But a guy like Stevie Johnson probably not even getting drafted in a lot of leagues right now. He might have more value. It would be really nice. I mean, this is Ladarius Green's opportunity to shine. He's got a 4-game chance to show his team what he can do. I mean, Gates isn't going to get any younger. He can't be there forever, so they've got to start looking at a replacement for him, and this is his opportunity. I mean, 19 catches on 25 targets, pretty efficient. He's a big, athletic body. I just think it's too early at this point, early July, to sell him as a potential tight end 1. I think we have to wait and see how things unfold. And then, I mean, after 4 games, Gates comes back. I'm pretty sure they're going to get him right back into the lineup. So does he have enough time to push Gates out the door? Probably not. So it's hard to say, hard to imagine him sneaking into the tight end one picture as long as Gates is still around.
All right, and you're right, Blister. It's totally his opportunity. I mean, we saw flashes that he was going to be the guy a couple of years ago, and then he was a big name coming into last year, and that there's a reason why he hasn't taken over that position. There's got to be something there for why. I mean, why wouldn't they? If he was good, why couldn't they do 2 tight end sets with him? You know, if he was supposed to be all that he was supposed to be. So I think, I don't know. There's something going on there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they like to throw the ball. Rivers likes to toss the ball, so you'd think that he would have had somebody. He didn't have a touchdown last year even, so you think that, and Gates had double-digit touchdowns last year, so I mean, if he can find the end zone, that would be a big start. That would help him quite a bit. But, you know, they even, like last year, it's been kind of frustrating to see how they've used running backs, but Danny Woodhead's not a very big back, obviously, but he was even getting goal line carries, which is kind of odd, you know, but he just sneak in there. I guess he's little and they couldn't find him or whatever, but they do odd things with the running backs, but I think for sure he'll be a guy that he Rivers looks to dump the ball off to. Ladarius Green, yeah, it'd be nice. Everyone wants to see him make that next step. Everyone wants him to see, I guess, the tight end they expected him to be for 2 or 3 years now, so time will tell.
Slim, what do you like? Does this hurt Phillip Rivers? I know he's maybe been a bit of a sleeper QB heading into July here.
No, I don't think so. Maybe I'm in the camp. I mean, I look at Ladarius Green and I see 19 catches on 25 targets, and I think that's pretty efficient. You're right. He's got to do something with this opportunity, though. Otherwise, I don't think he's got a job in San Diego in the future. But I think he's definitely serviceable enough that it doesn't hurt Phillip Rivers' his efficiency at all. So, you know, unlike Blister said, he's still got Woodhead. He's got Stevie Johnson there too. There's other receiving options in town as well that can help if Green doesn't, live up to this, fill these shoes completely. So I'm not worried about Rivers really at all.
Okay. All right, well, let's move on to the second news item. This one's entitled, Mariota is, quote, unbelievably accurate. So according to Sean Jefferson, who's the wide receivers coach with the team, sorry, I'm looking through my notes again. He noted that Mariota is deadly accurate in practices. Number one, he says, is his accuracy. Number two, he's come in and grasped the offense. And number three, is the way the guys respond to him, and that he's able to go in the huddle and take control. And I quote, "I'm just giddy about his future going forward," which is a terrible quote, I may add. Giddy? Really? You're a football coach. Anyways, Slim, buy or sell. Mariota can be targeted as a quarterback streaming option this season in standard leagues.
No, I sell it. I'm sorry, I was not looking at the script here for a sec, but I sell him as a streaming option right now. This is all great to hear, and I don't think anyone necessarily thought he wasn't an accurate quarterback. He didn't throw many picks in college. He's going to come in and throwing not against live defenses. I'm sure he looks great. But let's see what happens once the bullets start flying. And, Ken Wisenhunt even hinted at it and said, when he starts getting a few blitzers and some pass rush, we'll see. Things can change. But, we saw him succeed in a very specific style in college.
Right.
I don't know to what extent Tennessee is going to incorporate that same style of offense. Rumors were when he was drafted, that wasn't Wisenhunt's thing, and Wisenhunt maybe wasn't planning on changing his offense very much to accommodate Mariota. So we'll see. It sounds like they're coming around a little bit, and it's smart. I don't see why they wouldn't. But again, I'm not big on relying on rookie quarterbacks. Plus, I don't think that around him, the offensive line's still a big question mark. We don't know about their running game. The receivers are suspect. There's just not tons to be excited about there, other than maybe Delaney Walker at this moment.
Yeah.
So You got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, if you wanted to take him as your third quarterback and maybe stream him, I guess that's okay. You're gonna get him for $1, or maybe you can pick him up off the waiver wire. I can't see him being drafted in that many leagues, especially in just standard 12-team leagues starting one quarterback. You could probably wait and see how it goes, at the end of training camp or even in the first couple of weeks, and then maybe pick him up off waivers if you're that desperate.
So just to be clear and to summarize, you're not giddy about streaming him this year?
No.
Okay. You're not giddy in period? You're just not giddy?
I haven't been giddy probably since 1997.
Oh, wow. 97, that's pretty specific. Were you staining a big deck at that time? Or?
It's probably Christmas or something.
Anyways, third item, Blister, coming to you. Victor Cruz says, I won't start the Giants camp on the PUP list. So the Giants wide receiver doesn't see himself easing into training camp despite his recovery from a grueling patellar tendon tear. So he says his plan is to be ready for camp, and he says he feels good. That's what Cruz told SiriusXM. And I don't think that the PUP list is going to be an option for me. So, Blister, buy or sell that Cruz can get back into the wide receiver 2 discussion by the time your draft rolls around?
Well, I will buy that he can get into the discussion. I will sell that he will be able to fulfill that role as a wide receiver 2, or especially a high-end wide receiver 2. Here, I looked at his numbers. Obviously, the injury concerns are pretty big. I mean, that was a pretty bad injury last year. He only made 6 games. So I think when Victor Cruz burst on the scene in 2011, Hakeem Nicks was the number 1 receiver in New York, and not after the season ended up, obviously. Victor Cruz finished as the 3rd-ranked receiver that year, 82 receptions, 1,536 yards, and 9 touchdowns. So that was his best year, and every year since then has kind of regressed. Now, Nicks played with him not last year, but the other 3 years. I think it's safe to say that he surpassed Nicks as the eventual number 1, but on the depth charts, maybe stubbornness from Coughlin or whatever, I mean, you could probably find Nicks was always started out as the number 1. Talent-wise, Victor Cruz blew past him in 2012. Like I said, he had 86 grabs, more grabs, but less yards, 1,092, and 1 more touchdown for 10. And then in 2013, he only played 13 games, down to 73, 998, and 4. And then last year, 23 grabs, 337, and 1. But that was with the injury. Now, what I think potentially is good for Victor Cruz is Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham is by far the superior talent, so he's going to get his attention, the most attention, sorry. So it could almost regress back to when Victor was the number 2 to Hakeem. Victor maybe found some more open space. Cruz wasn't as, he didn't have to face the number 1 defensive backs and stuff in the league, so he didn't have to get the double coverage, and maybe that's what gave him some open field and allowed him to put up the stats he did. So he does have that going for him, but he does have all of these injuries that he's got to overcome. Now, obviously, if he was put on the PUP list to start the year and had to miss the first 6 games, well, obviously he won't even come close to wide receiver 2 numbers. But he could be a nice little sleeper. I mean, if he's healthy and he's determined to get back on the field with Odell Beckham across from him and that offense that they run, like they like to throw the ball, he does have the potential to put up some nice numbers. Maybe he could be a low-end wide receiver 2 for you. Maybe he could make the 20th ranked overall if he played all 16. And I think he'd be a great value on your auction day because no one's going to be spending too much money on him. So yeah. By the time camp rolls around, will he be in the talk? Could be. And will he be there? Well, I
don't think so.
I have my doubts. But he does, the best thing he has there is Odell Beckham, because Odell is going to get all the attention. Of course, he could get a large lump of the targets as well.
Right. Yeah,
which
right.
could hurt. So.
Okay, let's go on to the next headline here. Dwayne Bowe plans to fill Josh Gordon's shoes. So he says when Josh was here, he was a touchdown man, and I'm here to fill his shoes. That's what Bowe told a media group during mini camps. It's my job to do that on the offense, and I believe I can do it. And we know that he hasn't gotten to the end zone much with Kansas City, especially in the last few years. I love that he blames that partially on the quarterback and the Chiefs' offense, not his poor route running and inability to gain separation on corners, but he blames it on everybody else, which is something I always look for in a superstar. And I do like that he is excited to play with a bigger quarterback. Josh McCown. So I think that's exciting for him to say, too, that he's excited about Josh McCown. Anyways, so then buy or sell. Dwayne Bowe hits pay dirt 5 times this season.
I'm going to sell. I know
Because he's going to have more than 5?
No, please. Oh, that would have been the best little slow roll right there. But, you know, I've mentioned Bowe as maybe a guy you want to grab really late in your draft for $1. I don't necessarily. I'm not backing away from that. I just don't think you can expect big production if you get him. You know, you're taking him late for $1. You're hoping maybe he hits 5 touchdowns. That would be his max, I think. You know, maybe he gets around 800 yards receiving maximum. That's his ceiling. But for a guy that you can get as $1, that's maybe your wide receiver 5, that's not awful. But I mean, you look at the Cleveland offense last year; they had 12 passing touchdowns the whole season. Is McCown that much better? I don't think so. I mean, he put up some decent numbers when he was in Chicago, but he also had Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall there. So definitely, sorry, Dwayne Bowe, you're not those guys. But so I just can't see. I can't see tons more passing touchdowns. You know, maybe 15. Does that mean that Bowe is going to be responsible for a third of that? Or more? I can't see it happening. So yeah, I'm selling that. Just, you know, don't buy him as your wide receiver 3.
Okay. All right. So it's a little bit of news. A few things to consider. Most notably, the Antonio Gates news. Let's move on, guys. It's been a hectic couple of days for us, in particular you guys running the discussion group here on the Scott Fish Bowl. So let's take a look at the Scott Fish Bowl 360. If you want to follow what's going on in the Scott Fish Bowl, you can by following the hashtag SFB360. I know we're pretty excited about the 12 o'clock Eastern, which was what it was for me. 12 o'clock Eastern, I think, was the kickoff of the draft on Monday. So let's start with you, Blister. Talk to us a little bit how your team's looking this year, or so far.
Well, yeah, so a little bit, just to give you a little bit more background information. It's our second year playing in it, and we're, like I said, great thanks to Scott for putting this all together. He's got 270 experts from around the fantasy football industry, and he's got 90 fans, so it's a great opportunity. It's kind of fun to, you know, be up against a guy that you might read his articles or listen to his pods and stuff like that. I mean, it's fun for us, and we do the same thing, and it's fun, I'm sure, for the fans. So great. It's a lot of time and effort that goes into that and organizing it all, and obviously for my fantasy league, for hosting it, that's a big draft to host. So those two places obviously deserve a big pat on the back and a thank you. And we really moved I played a lot more on my fantasy league now than I did, say, 3 years ago. We transferred a couple of our leagues over there. I'm on several on there now, and you know, you get pretty comfortable with the site, and it's a pretty handy site. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on there. So if you're looking at hosting a league, or especially if it's a dynasty or something that you're going to have running for a long time, it's a good one to run. But yeah, the auction. So I wasn't as thrilled about my pick. I had to pick first overall, and I kind of
a lot of discussion about it. A lot of discussion.
So I did a lot of mocking on the Draft Pro Wizards there software, and it was kind of cool because you put in exactly how it's going to roll out, like the positions and stuff like that. But you know that when you get to the real deal with all these experts, that it's not going to roll out the same way. And I was really hoping that, you know, a lot of quarterbacks would go in the first couple of rounds, so that when I made my second and third pick, I would still have a couple stud receivers left waiting for me. And that didn't happen. So my big debate was Antonio Brown, who won me a lot of leagues last year, or Adrian Peterson, or another maybe potential top running back. And we went back and forth on this quite a bit, and finally, you know, listening to Slim, he had kind of looked up the point totals from some of these guys, and often the top guys in the league are maybe one quarterback and 3 or 4 running backs at the end of the year, guys that are in the top 5, and then maybe another quarterback. So typically a wide receiver doesn't make the top overall scoring. And in this league, obviously your total wins are important, and you got to get a lot of points to get those wins, but at the end, guys can move on with having a high point total, and that'll get you through as you get into playoff rounds and stuff like that. That the high point total is how you advance. Total is how you advance. So at the end of the day, I'm trying to get guys that have the potential to put up big numbers, 350, 400 points. You know, so I start off with Adrian Peterson. there's a lot of hype there. He's not getting any younger. I hope he holds up. I hope he comes in with the chip on his shoulder, and I hope he runs mad, and I hope he gets a lot more catches than he has in other years as well. In this league, it's a 1 point PPR, and it's a quarter point per carry. So, a guy who's going to touch the ball a lot, you're hoping, a guy like Adrian Peterson, hopefully he'll push that 400-point total.
Yeah.
Come back. I was hoping that it'd come back with 2 big wide receivers, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, guys like that. The best one left on my board anyways was Alshon Jeffrey. So I took him. He had a pretty good year last year. I think he still finished the top 12 receiver in that league. And then I really wasn't really high on the rest of them, so I took DeMarco Murray. He was the highest point getter in the league last year, had 459 points, highest out of all the players in that league. Now, I know he's going to regress this year, and I know he's not going to have the numbers and probably the touches he did when he was in Dallas, and he's not going to be running behind the same line. But if the guy still can get me 350 points, that's a pretty solid RB2. And, I mean, I can't believe the lack of love for him. I wasn't. I mean, this will be the year. I didn't take him last year because I said he's always hurt, so I shied away from him.
We wish.
That burned me. And now this year I do take him, so damn well he'll get hurt and he'll burn me back-to-back years. Once for not taking him, once for taking him. Come back at the 4-5. I needed a receiver. The best one out there in my mind. It was a gamble. There's a lot of guys very close, but I took Allen Robinson. I know there's a lot of hype on him right now, and I guess the big question is Bortles, but he will be the number one guy there, and he will get targeted a lot, and he is talented. So if he stays in the field for 16, he could challenge for a wide receiver 1 category. And then I was flipping in Hyman and Hahn. I mean, it's a 2-quarterback league basically. It's a super flex, and I don't have a quarterback yet, so I took Joseph Randall instead, thinking that he's a guy that if he does run behind DeMarco's line from last year, and all indications are they're not looking for any other running back talent, so they have to be happy with him. Run DMC, nobody has confidence in him getting the job. So if he does pan out, there's a guy that could, again, be another running back that could put up 350 to 400 points quite easily, as long as he can stay out of jail, stay on the field, and do what
If.
Marco did. Yeah, I know. So I got a lot of ifs right now on my team, which it's a little scary at this point in time. So I probably won't pick again till maybe tomorrow. I'm 22 picks away or 21 picks away from picking again. So there's about 10 quarterbacks only drafted in our league so far, and we're starting early in round 5. So I anticipate at least another half dozen going probably before I pick again. So I'll be looking at some low-budget quarterbacks next time around, probably.
Well, and I know the discussion has been fast and furious on the app. You guys have been going crazy. Last night I ran to pick up some groceries, but I had the iPad out and the volume up. And the first thing Minnow said when I walked in is, I got 100 texts while you were gone, and the app just going ding, 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 ding. You guys are cranking it out hard all day today too. It's good. Anyways, Slim, we're in your league so far.
Hello?
So I broke up there, Bucks.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you there? No, that's right. I broke up. Sorry, Slim, how are things going in your league?
Yeah. My league, interesting to say the least. I'll say I started off with my first pick, pretty happy, and then I was pretty sad for about 3, and now I feel a little bit better maybe. I went in this draft with every intention to go kind of with an RB0 type strategy. I liked the teams I was getting. I feel in a format like this, everybody was going to go for running backs fairly early. When you're going against 359 other people, it's beneficial to play a little bit on the contrarian side, going against the grain a little bit. So I kind of found myself talked out of it a little bit. I talked myself out of it actually. After the first round, as it was getting there, I was picking from the 112 spot. So I knew I was going to take a receiver there. It was just a matter of, is it going to be Dez or Demarius? And then I debated about grabbing that other guy with the 201. And when I got to thinking, a lot of running backs went, and I started looking at the numbers. We had a little bit of a wait for one guy, so that kind of was the worst because it made me second guess everything that I kind of wanted to do. And I ended up taking CJ Anderson, which I felt was a reach based on, you know, where his ADP was and where I had seen him going in mocks. But when I started thinking about the numbers and how much points these running backs can score, I just thought, you know, I and my team's kind of taken this role afterwards. I need to go for home runs. And to me, CJ Anderson is a guy who could potentially be in discussion as a top 3 running back this year. I couldn't get Le'Veon Bell or Adrian Peterson picking in the 112, so why not take a shot at the 201? Foster is a guy who puts up a lot of points in this format too, but I don't like his injury history. I thought CJ was a little bit safer in that regard. So I rolled the dice and I went with somebody who I think was probably a surprise to a lot of people, and I'm just trying to hit that home run. And then, you know, I wanted to go load up on wide receivers. It kept going running backs, so it came around to the 312, and Emmanuel Sanders was sitting there. And 9 times out of 10, I would have taken him, except I already had Demarius Thomas and C.J. Anderson, and I thought that would be insane to take another Denver Bronco. So I took Brandon Cooks, which I didn't mind in that spot. At the time, I think it was maybe a little bit of, looked like a reach, but then once more drafts started getting to that spot, it seems like that's a pretty common ADP for him in this pool anyway. And then I followed up with Julian Edelman, and me and Blister had a decent talk about that last night. And I couldn't take Sanders, and so I settled with Edelman because one reason was if I'm going to take all these shots, I would like to have one guy who I think of as being relatively safe, and Edelman was kind of that guy there. Yeah, I could have went with Allen Robinson or, you know, Andre Johnson maybe, or something
higher
like
floor
that.
Though, right?
Who, the Edelman?
Edelman, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping he gets, you know, 90 catches. I can pencil him in for that. And yeah, he might not score me a lot of touchdowns, but he should catch me a lot of balls, and that's okay in a PPR league. So then, again, I had to wait till the 512. That was the 401. And I was on the fence. Do I take a running back or do I stick with what I wanted to do? And quarterbacks were moving. I still didn't have one. I ended up taking Travis Kelce at 512. I wanted to actually take Keenan Allen, and he got picked a couple picks before me. So I thought, you know what, I'll take a tight end now and let everyone else figure that out. I didn't want to have to worry about streaming anybody. And while other people are using picks on tight ends, hopefully that pushes some running backs or quarterbacks down to me when I pick again at the 7-8 turn. And so then I went with Martavis Bryant at 601 because, again, like I said, I feel like you got to try for a home run. The guy, you know, I love the fact that he's going to get a ton more reps. You know, even if he can catch 6 passes a game, 5 passes, you know, hopefully there's some of those big ones in there. You know, and even if he gets me 5 passes a game, that's fairly consistent at least, and I can live with that. And hopefully there's some of those big ones mixed in, like I said, and he's, you know, scoring me some 30-point weeks, which is really going to help me. So looking forward, I pick in about, we're at what, the 704 now, so I got till the 712. I'm leaning towards, there's been quite a run on quarterbacks, and now it's worked out. I think by sticking with the wide receiver strategy, now there's lots of guys that don't have any wide receivers, and they're filling up. Andre Johnson's going, Macklin, Brandon Marshall, Sammy Watkins. They've all gone recently. Jarvis Landry just went just now. So these guys are now Martellus Bennett. They're taking these pass catchers that I already have, so now it's pushing all these running backs hopefully down. So even if I want to go quarterback now, I might even want to wait till rounds 9 and 10 to take running backs and just load up on some PPR backs. So I'm going to see here what happens. I got a feeling I'll take a quarterback because it's starting to get pretty slim pickings, and maybe I will take a running back, or you know what, Deshaun Jackson's still sitting there as a receiver. I might just say, you know what, I want 5 receivers, or if Marcus Colston's sitting there, and take him, and then I'm set at wide receiver probably for the rest of this draft pretty much until near the end when I'm just taking absolute flyers on guys, and hopefully I can rattle off 4 or 5 straight running back picks in a couple rounds.
Well, you guys are much further along than I am. I'm in the Step Brothers conference in the Catalina Wine Mixer League.
Love the name.
Personally enjoy it. Yeah. Anyways, we waited. We waited at no time. It took 50 seconds for the first pick to come in. Was Andrew Luck, and then 4 hours later for the 102 to come in. So we're not even at the in the fourth round yet, but I was picking out of the 105, and my whole plan, I was going to go top-end receiver here. I really like the stuff that John Paulson was talking about with, and you guys talked about it on the chat too, just that idea of the top two running backs tend to finish consistently high, and then after that there's quite a bit of a drop off, but the top, there's a wider range of wide receivers that finish high. So I thought at 105 I'd be able to get someone as a big receiver, and I wasn't going to find a running back there. AP drops to me at 105, so my strategy goes out the window, and now I'm thinking I'm going to take a top running back and a top receiver and see what I can do, and hopefully some quarterbacks will mix in there and push some things down to me as well. So I got AP at 105. Coming back, we had it at the 208. I saw Calvin Johnson dropping to me. He was still on the board. I started talking with the boys, like, what do you think about Mega at this pick? And sure enough, he gets sniped on me at the 207. So now I'm scrambling. So I take AJ Green because I wanted a big name wide receiver there at 208. And then coming back to the 305, I wanted to stay with receivers. I want to go on a receiver run here. So we had a little bit of discussion. I was looking at DeAndre Hopkins, looking at Brandon Cooks. Emmanuel Sanders was in the mix. He's even thinking it might be a reach, but Jordan Matthews, I kind of like his upside this year. But after discussing with the boys and going through 5 or 6 different resources to look, I decided to go with DeAndre Hopkins there at the 305. And we're currently stalled at 312. So we're waiting on the guy who's on the turn. I'll call him out. Well, I won't call him out, but he made a pick in the first round at the 112 and then waited 3 hours for his second pick in a row. So hopefully we don't see that coming around this time. He doesn't listen to the pod, I'm sure, so we're fine. Brister, always actually sort of quick, just because we got time, I guess we can talk about our fan too. Derek Myers is in our pool, and he was picking out of the 108. So I've been talking to him a little bit on Twitter here, and I kind of like where he's been going so far. At the 108, he took Julio Jones, and then where is he? At the 205, he took Marshawn Lynch. So he's kind of, we were debating, is Julio and Beast Mode a better match or better pair than AP and AJ? So there was some good discussion there. As we move on, Derek Myers at the 308 takes Brandon Cooks. Of course, I was hoping he might come back to me in the fourth round, and he didn't. So now we're sitting there waiting. So I kind of like where he's gone so far. He has Cooks and Julio Jones and Marshawn Lynch.
Frozen.
Uh-oh.
You froze up, Uncle Buckets.
Like, his other names that were drafting. I froze up. Am I still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're there now.
Sorry, you were just talking about Brandon Cooks and how... Okay. Yeah, go.
Oh, wow, I did freeze up. Okay, well, anyways, I'll just stop there. Brandon Cooks there. Blah. Blister, I was going to ask you, who are some of the people in your league, some of the experts, and what are maybe some of the picks that you saw come up that surprised you?
Well, let me go through that real quick.
I just think it's interesting for listeners. You know, they're like us. Like, I mean, we listen to lots of other pods and read other articles too. Mm-hmm. So it may be interesting to hear who you had the Magic Man last year.
I did. Well, I have from Draft Breakdown, Option Routes, Ryan Ducarm, Dynasty Football Warehouse, Matt Young. He took Julio Jones 5th overall, which, I mean, I like Julio, but there was a lot of drafts. I was surprised how early Julio was going.
He went 4th in mine, yeah.
Yeah. Your FF coach, Peyton Garrett.
8 in ours.
Scout, Liz Loza. Draft Sharks, Kevin English. Dynasty League Football, Ken Moody. And Dynasty Nerds, Rich Dotson. Actually, I listened to his pod today. Hey, Rich. And I'm sure he doesn't listen to ours, but I got a good pod there. And I wanted to snipe CJ Spiller on him today because I know he likes him. I'd be shocked if CJ Spiller gets back to him in the 5th round here if he doesn't take him. So I'm sure he will. I just kind of want to take him for that reason. So those guys are in my league. But I guess, yeah.
Okay, Slim, what about you? Who are some of the guys in your league?
Melvin Gordon went as the RB13, which I was a little surprised about. And again, Julio Jones. He was the first wide receiver off the board in my pool. Went 4th overall.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, went Jamal Charles, Le'Veon Bell, AP, and then Julio. Which tough to pass on Antonio or Dez or Demarius. And one thing that jumps out to me in this format is the sick value that you get near the end of the 2nd round kind of thing. If you're picking, say, 210, so if you pick 103 and then come back at 210, you often got a shot at AJ Green or Alshon Jeffrey in the 2nd round, or even Odell Beckham. He went to what did he end up going here? He was the wide receiver 6 taken. He was 207. So I mean,
oh yeah, no kidding. He was 111 for us.
It's just. Yeah, I just love the values that you see in the end of that 2nd round.
So who are some of the drafters in your pool?
Oh, the guys, sorry.
That's okay. That's what we're talking about.
We got Don Davenport from the Fake Pigskin, Kevin O'Brien from the Fake Football. We've been actually talking quite a bit on Twitter. It's been fun. Jay Myers from Dynasty Football Warehouse, Russell Clay from the DLF. So it's been good. A couple fans. What do we got? 1, 2, 3 fans. So yeah, it's been fun, and it's been pretty good. Minus a couple stallouts, but it hasn't been that bad, quite honestly. Like I said, we're at 705 now, so it's not been bad.
It's moving right along. I mean, I'm still working on my MFL 10 that I started. Feels like 2 weeks ago. I think we're in round 17. I still got 3 rounds to go. It's been dragging, but what's that?
Those kind of do.
Yeah. Well, lots of guys just timed out and then a defense, and then time out and get a defense. So
yeah.
I don't know why you don't especially in those later rounds, just preset. But anyways, I was going to say in my pool, I've got from Scout Fantasy, the Fantasy Taz, Jim Day. I have 3 fans in mine as well. Roto Curve, I have Josh Colchis, let's say, sure. I got the Fantasy Coach, Dennis Iser. I also have John Collins. Yeah. I got from the Fantasy Sports Locker Room, John Collins. And I have our fan, Derek Myers. I have Michael Valverde from the RLF Red Zone. I have ESPN Roto World, PFF, and TFF. I'm not sure what TFF is, but Renee Miller. And then the guy who's on the clock right now is Dave Major from XN Sports. And to round out my league, I have the host from Dynasty League Football, Scotty Fish, is also in our pool.
I was actually going to tweet that because you guys were so slow for a while that I was going to say that's like using the boss's computer and leaving the porn on. If he's in your pool and you're still being really slow, like, come on, man, you're going to get booted right out. It's right. He's been good.
He's been good. It's been taking 7 minutes for him to get his picks in. But
I was actually going to tweet this pick. Still under a minute. That's my average draft time, less than a minute.
Oh yeah, nice.
That was me.
And have you been doing it with
last year?
Have you been doing like presetting your picks or just being on the ball?
Oh, yeah. No, okay. Well, I've been on the ball too, but I've been presetting as well.
Well, and
I was under a minute.
I can't complain too much about time because I'm sitting in the middle of class, and for me to take my phone out with all it's a small class. Like all of a sudden, I'm going to get busted hard. I was looking at it during one break really quick, and Minnow was texting me, "Hey, who are you picking?" He knew exactly what I was doing, so it's good. Well, I was going to say just some different things in my pool here. Like Andrew Luck came off the board at the 101, Le'Veon Bell 102, Des Bryant at 3. Antonio Brown doesn't come off till 4. I sneak in and get Adrian Peterson at 5. Aaron Rodgers at 9. Russell Wilson at the 201, so 3 quarterbacks already in the first 13 picks, which then forces a guy like Demaryius Thomas down to the 112. So I thought that was kind of, yeah.
That's where I got him too, 112, but...
Same as our league.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just thought some reaches of guys looking for RBs. Like I thought a couple of reaches, Forsett at 302, Carlos Hyde at 303. I just feel like, I don't know, why you wouldn't just jump on a wide receiver there and let those guys sit. Like I just don't think that. It felt kind of early for me. Melvin Gordon at 307. Alfred Morris at 311.
TJ Yeldon 409. I thought that was
running back allure
premium
of the points.
Yeah,
I get it. It is. I mean, that's it. There's a quarter point rushing now. I saw it with guys. The guy that drafted Andrew Luck was probably stoked about that. The guy that drafted Russell Wilson was probably pumped about that quarter point. Even the Cam Newton owner and Aaron Rodgers even, they're gonna get you some rushing points actually. So yeah, I'm not surprised at these running backs.
Well, what do you guys think though? I don't know. Is it just me or is Le'Veon Bell still going too high?
Well,
he's missing games. Like, do you take him at the 101, 102 if he's going to be suspended?
I don't. The thing is, like, if I picked up there's no way I would take him because I know he's missing games, and I get that anyone can miss games, but that's like, giving you a head start in a race. I'm knowingly giving you 3 games head start on me. And, I mean, especially in this pool where you got to get in, the playoffs can be a little bit longer. I mean, it's going to be tight. If I'm giving up, this elite production, and I get it on a per-game basis when he's in there, he's right up there with anybody, but he's not going to
especially in this scoring format, right? PPR, quarter point, rush, like it's... But
if I need 8 wins to get in the playoffs, I'm giving up 3 of those games. That's a considerable percentage of opportunity that I'm just kind of throwing out the window. So if I'm picking at 102 or even 105, I got to go somewhere else, I think. I mean, yeah, Eddie Lacy could get hurt or AP could get hurt, but they're not right now.
Well,
I know that they're playing 16 right now, and that can change, but... that's all you can do. I believe me, I love Le'Veon Bell, but I just have a hard time taking him that early, knowing that he's missing time when I know there's lots of other guys that aren't. So
yeah, Blister, what do you think? Like right now, I just looked at the average ADP for all conferences. His ADP is 3.8, and he's ranked number 2 overall. As far as the ADP goes, like, what do you think? Is that too high? I know it's snake. I hate talking about it, but. Anyways.
Yeah, our auction forte is taking a. Well, you know what? We're just well-rounded, right? We do a lot of
auctions every year. It does.
I don't know, but I just think to myself, like, if it's an auction, am I spending $65 on Le'Veon Bell?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I can't. I was just trying to look it up, so I wasn't telling a fib here, but. I know that your wins count for a lot, right? So you get 8 wins and you can be in the playoffs. I think this year guaranteed.
Yeah, I think that was right.
So if you got to hope to win at least one, probably those games or 2 that Le'Veon is out. That's a tough task to do when you're taking him that early. There's so many guys that you could take.
He's your top player, yeah.
That should be producing for you those first 3 weeks, and he's not. He's your best guy. He's sitting on the bench. Then the other thing is once you get into, you got to get the wins to get in. If that takes you out, I mean, if you do make it in the playoffs, there's a lot of. I think you go up and the top point getters move on. The top point getters move on. That's how in 360 teams you can't have a head-to-head. It'd take you forever, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't get in, you're giving up on some points potentially as well just to get in. I mean, I can't remember. I wish I had it in front of me, but I thought it was like top 1, 2, and 3 or whatever, and top point getter outside of that made the playoffs, something like that. Maybe it's different.
It is something I thought too.
Something like that, right? So if you don't win enough, and if you lose out on his points for 3 weeks plus his bye, yeah, that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points you could be leaving on the board. And I don't know. That's why I wouldn't have been. I love Le'Veon Bell. Don't get me wrong, but it's tough to take him that early on. That's for sure.
Well, that's just where I was close.
No, I was actually thinking about this before we got on the air when I was sitting there typing a script, and it's funny you brought it up but that's the beauty of an auction, though. I mean, the thing is, you can still get Le'Veon in an auction because you can get him for the right price. You'll never get him in a snake draft, especially in a snake draft of this format, where he probably should go. I mean, for me in the fishbowl, I probably wouldn't take him until the top of the second.
Yeah, I was thinking like a 202.
I would have to think about it probably. But I'm not taking him over, probably 6 running backs just because. And hey, there's a chance that he could still outscore a lot of those guys. Hell, maybe all of them. Maybe he could. But the odds aren't there right now. And I got to take what I know at the moment. But in an auction, I mean, if he's there at $40. Okay, or say the top guys go for over 60 and he's sitting there at 45, yeah, you probably bid on him because he's going for maybe roughly, RB7 prices, and that could very well be a good spot for him to finish, and he could very well even outproduce that. So that is, to me, a value in the auction, and that's what I like about auction is it doesn't matter who the guy is or what his situation is. There is a price for this guy. And it's always gettable, and you can always pull yourself out and say, "Hey, all right, I'm done. Someone else can take them." It's hard to do that in a snake. I mean, they're at their ADP, and that's where they're going to go typically.
Yeah, it's just interesting to look at it in that regards. I just felt like, wow, it's so high, and now that I look at that overall ADP, I mean, he's the second guy off the board on average.
Yeah, but look at that ADP. Look, there's no consensus. Everybody's about 3.5, right? Who's the...
Well, 3.6 for Andrew Luck, 3.8 for Le'Veon Bell, 4.2 for Antonio Brown, 4.3 for AP, and then it's in the 5s, 6s, the 8s, the 10s.
Yeah, but tell me any other draft where you see an ADP, the top guy's an ADP of 3.6.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
I mean, usually there's someone who's clear-cut one, kind of clear-cut two.
But this is 360 guys, too. Like, this is a big sample size.
Sure, but I bet you if you go to Fantasy Pros where there's thousands of sample size and just look at their ADP, there's probably somebody who's, whether it's Jamal Charles or whatever. I thought it was funny because it showed, and it's the format, too. Quarterbacks score a lot in this. So Andrew Luck would probably never go first in any other forms, but he's in the mix here. Right. Look at the first 3 guys. It's a quarterback, running back, and wide receiver as the top 3 guys in terms of ADP. So it's kind of interesting how that. I just thought there was no consensus really. Every pool, somebody was getting taken different in the top 3, which was kind of interesting.
That's right. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting here too. I'm looking down at quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger, his ADP is 34.6, which is ahead of Matt Ryan and just behind Peyton Manning. With standard deviation, you might as well call it tied. Which I think is interesting that Big Ben would be taken so early there too. I mean, I know it's a 2 quarterback, but at 34. That's not even 3 rounds in.
I can live with him ahead of Matt Ryan, but tough to take him ahead of Peyton, but whatever.
And you look late. I mean, even Eli, he's at 50. Tom Brady at 52. I mean, why wouldn't you sit on, here's a good combo right here at 65, 66, Teddy Bridgewater, Colin Kaepernick. Andy Dalton at 69. Carson Palmer, 71.
This is the one thing I hate about Snake. I don't know my 12 times table's good enough.
I know. I find it actually works pretty good that way to teach you the 12 times. I'm going to bring that into my STEM position next year.
There you go.
We're doing a ADP lesson. Hey, we did fantasy hockey this year.
You could do a surface area to stay in the big deck.
And that's full circle, Blister.
There you go.
Actually, you know what? I know we had a lot of other stuff on the script, guys, but we're over an hour already. And just so you guys know, I keep us on track. You guys were like an hour 17 last week, and just saying normally we're an hour 4 to an hour 6.
I didn't keep track. That was where my inexperience showed.
I did laugh at that. I said it out loud to my wife when we were driving, and she says, "What? Go."
No, finish your. I want to mention one other league that people may want to think about.
Oh yeah, no, okay. Well, I was just going to say that. I was just I made a joke. Oh, Slim went over time, and she's like, "I don't care," and so I just didn't talk to her anymore. I'm sure I was laughing out loud. I was listening with one headphone in while I was driving, and I was like, "Man, they're doing such a good job. That was just a great point." And then I'm laughing. They're making fun of me right now, and all those types of things. And there's another joke pointed at me, and she's like, "I don't care." I'm like, "Okay, well." Then I just will make comments to myself. Anyways, Blister, go with the other league. Yeah.
Well, I'm in another league called Auction Kings, and they're still looking for people. What the idea here is, and I won't give you all the details right now, but if this sounds like something any of our listeners might be interested in, they're going to have like something like the Fishbowl, but it's going to be an auction. But there's going to be 8 separate 12-team leagues, and you'll have an auction just within your 12-team league. Probably set that up for August sometime. And obviously, there's a lot of spots left to fill. There's roughly, roughly half of each league is full at this time. The cost is he wants to have a 2-year commitment, and it's basically $102, but it's $51 and change per year because it's just over 102. So I mean, the cost isn't out of this world. There's prize money, I think, first, second, and third each year, but a portion of from all the leagues' money goes towards an overall grand prize winner after 2 years. And it's a redraft, so you'll auction this year, next year you'll auction again, but your point totals from this year and your point totals from next year go towards this overall super champ. And so there's a big prize of roughly $2,000 for that. So there's good prize money in it. The league is going to be.
How do they get more information, Blister? How do they get more information?
I don't know. They can tweet me first. I asked the commission. I asked I just want to see if I can pull it up again. Email to commission. I sent him an email tonight, and he haven't heard back from him. And his name's Dan. I'll just say that for now. I wasn't sure if he wanted me to give out his email on the air, or if if people were interested, maybe first of all tweet me. I can then hook them up with Dan, and then we can go from there. So tweet me at Mr. Blister, MRBLISTR, if you want any more information. Like I said, it's a neat setup. It's a 2-year commitment. $102, and there's prize money. I think it's first, second, and third, and all the scoring and all the rules and everything. It's an auction draft. But if you want all that information instead of me talking about it for hours and hours and hours, hit me up. I'll send you the information, and hopefully you can join up. I know myself and my next door neighbor Johnny are in it already. So, and Jared Hines, Fantasy Sports for You, he's in there, and it should be a lot of fun. Looks like a lot of fun. We get a lot of offers to go in different leagues, and this one tweaked my interest because it was an auction, and I like the looks of it. It's something a little bit different than the normal ones that we're in. So hit me up at Mr. Blister, and I'll get you the details if you're interested in it.
And I mean, you could probably just fire it off to @Fantasy Auction as well, and they'll send it over to Blister that way too, sure. as an easy little way, because someone will misspell Blister, and we did that all wrong when we first set it up. So I put 2 T's in Uncle Buckets. It makes no sense, and we made sure you had no E in Mr. Blister, so it makes no sense to people. So we didn't set that up years ago when we thought that this would absolutely go nowhere. So I'm pretty happy about that it went somewhere. Speaking of going somewhere, I just want to give a shout out because I got a tweet earlier today from Dakota at 381 Dakota. He just because we hear it sometimes, it's nice to shout him out. I just found the podcast yesterday, he says, and he's been going through the old shows, and he says, nice work with an exclamation point. So, someone taking time out to actually tweet us and tell us we're doing a good job. I love it. Don't be afraid to head on over to iTunes and subscribe there. Leave a little comment on there as well. If you want to support the podcast, that's a great way of doing it. It helps move up the rankings and helps spread the auction love. If you want more information like we're doing right here on the podcast. If you want to take a look at auction values, we've got them deep this year. We're going to be getting into the RB 100 and wide receiver 100 as far as auction values, or if you want auction specific articles and all those types of things, head on over to the website, thefantasyfootballauction.com. We got the membership site rolling, and I really wanted to take a whole pod, guys, just to rip the magazine that I bought, because I couldn't believe how atrocious it was. Not only just in information that was in it in general, I felt I might as well have taken a $10 bill, wiped my arse with it, and thrown it out the window. Really, it was unbelievable. But the auction values in there, it was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I think they had Slim, I think I texted you on this stuff, or maybe we did it on the app. But it was like $38 for Matt Forte, and Matt Forte is the #1 RB ranked, and his AAV, they actually listed as an AAV, which I think, how is it an average auction value when you wrote it in May? So how is there any average auction value there? Is $38 for the top running back overall. Really?
$200 budget?
Yeah, $200 budget. It has an asterisk on the bottom and says that. And I mean, I don't want to call out major news organizations who are getting into fantasy and have their own daily fantasy websites now, and their major news channel and newspaper and all those things. But that's who wrote the magazine, USA Today, and it was appalling. The only thing that had to do with auction were the auction values, and they could not be more off. But I'll just stop. So again, I looked at my wife and I said, "Why wouldn't you buy a subscription to our website? It makes no sense. This magazine could bring to the outhouse and just drop in the hole. That's how much use it is for me." And she said, "I don't care." So no, she didn't. She didn't. But I just think it's a good line. It's a good line to say. Oh, nice. Oh. An MFL 10 pick just came in. I thought it would. I know. I wish I could drop all this stuff right now, but I can't. Terrence West, just so you know, we're in at the 1905 at my MLF 10. Terrence West just came off the board. Is that good? That's late.
That's pretty late.
As good as you'll get.
Yeah, that's right. At 1905. Okay, guys, so we've been on for a long time here. I'm going to apologize at the back end here for not having any sound effects. There's a couple of you guys on iTunes who say you hate the sound effects. Well, there you go. But I'm at the dorm, and I don't have my regular computer. Leave it at that. So, guys, I don't know. Maybe I'll see you on the weekend. I'll probably be doing homework. There's our sound effects. Cold-blooded. I did like that drop. It would have been a perfect drop. What did the 5 fingers say to the face? And anyways, for the rest of you, I'll see you when it's springtime in the Rockies.